Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh, Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the impact it's having, the people it's reaching. It's started off as a passion project, releasing one episode a month. Now we release 2 episodes a week, and one with Stacey as my co-host, another one with a guest, or sometimes I do solo episodes. But we get messages on a weekly basis that people are finding this podcast when they need it most, and I think with everything that's happening on the planet and all the shifts that we're going through, and we'll talk more about it in this episode, I do feel like it's a beautiful time to listen to podcasts like this, reach out, be part of communities, etc. So I'm really proud of this podcast and the impact it's having. I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast creator and podcast host, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. What I do is I guide people on their spiritual journey. I feel like I guide people to be their authentic selves, releasing the layers you're holding on to truly understand why you're here, what your purpose is, how you're here meant to shine your light, guide you to merge worlds. I don't never tell anybody what to do. I guide you to you. Through the beautiful mentorship program that me and Stacey channeled, through the Akashic Records, which holds your space over 12 weeks, really guides you to you. Through Akashic Records, through this podcast, through membership I started in December. And the membership, even that's growing so beautifully. It's like we set up a WhatsApp group with all the members. There's such a beautiful interaction between the different members, and they getting to know each other. Is so I love it. I love it. It's just I love what I get to do. But yeah, we'll talk about the current energy. There's a lot going on too, and we all feel it too. So but I'm happy and glad that my amazing, stunning co-host is here with me. Podcast wouldn't be where it is today without her. So introducing the amazing, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire and published author, Stacey Brown. Stacey, I've got to do it. Over to you. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, friends. It's good to be back. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from all around the world. I am also an Akashic record reader and a spiritual coach and mentor. And I am so honored that Nims and I get to be in this space. You know, there are so many ways that we try to reach out and help. And if you're feeling prompted, send us a DM, send us an email. Let us know that you're listening. Tell us what your thoughts are about our podcast. We love hearing from you. I'm very grateful to be in this space today. I also want to remind you that I have a book called Journey to Soul Center, Discovering the Gift of Surrender. It's available on Amazon and Audible. I'm currently back on Clubhouse doing a weekly room reading the book in the Ever Mindful Club. And it has been powerful to revisit the story. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I encourage you to check it out. It might just be a tool that will help you on your own healing journey. I didn't want to just unload my story. I wanted to do something to bring the reader along on the journey. So at the end of every chapter, there's a life lesson and a journal prompt style question for you to think about. So just some thoughts that I have as we get started. I'm really looking forward to getting into this episode today with you, Nims. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to it too. It's just we're recording this, so everyone knows, on Tuesday, the 10th of Feb, released on Monday the 16th. Just feels like such an energetic time, such an energetic shift. And this week I've really felt ups and downs, kind of feeling on the high, feeling on the low, feeling everything. It's just it's a really intense time for us. And yeah, I'm excited to see and hear whatever comes through this episode. Never script anything. Titles decided in advance. Well, actually, literally yesterday, just kind of feeling the current energy. But so today we're talking about walking into a new cycle in your own power. And it's just feels really timely. I mean, I'm very conscious that I want to try and maintain different topics every week and all that sort of stuff. But also the topics are kind of driven by current energy. And this week, and whenever you listen to this is perfect. But this week, just like every other week, just feels like there's so many energetic shifts happening. that, and the universe is giving us clues about, how we are moving into a new cycle. What does that mean? I mean, if I look at the planetary shifts just this week, it's there's a lot, it's just crazy. Just Neptune moved into Aries last week, but then we've got so much, today's 16th, tomorrow is everyone's been talking about Chinese New Year. Tomorrow is the Chinese New Year, so 17th. Moving into the year of the horse, moving away from the year of the snake. So many clues, and just a fire horse. So, I mean, the clues in the name. It's also a new moon tomorrow. That's in the Chinese culture. Yesterday, in the Hindu culture, on the 15th was Mahashivratri, which is Lord Shiva is the god of destruction, the god of reset, rebirth. That was yesterday. It feels like multiple time loads are closing. It feels like we're struggling with kind of the cycles and whatever that means. Saturn moved into Aries over the weekend too. Means both Saturn and Neptune Aries. I don't follow the planets too much. I'm sure you can find out more on, but the clues are there. I mean, Saturn and Neptune conjunct on the 20th at 0 degrees. 0 degrees, if you don't know, means new cycle. And two slow moving planets being together in Aries, which is all about action. It's kind of the universe giving us a clue that we're entering into a new cycle, a new identity. And everybody's at a different space, I guess, in theory, but collectively there is a massive shift happening on the planet. So that's why this topic, kind of felt really, really appropriate, kind of moving into this new cycle, but as ourselves, in your own power, claiming your own power back. Just in the membership group, just before we started recording, there's lots of messages about people feeling kind of drained and then emotional and then on a high. And then, so I did a quick activation there, a quick reset on bringing your power back, because I do feel we've been through so much that we are tired. But I feel like it is a time for us to stand in our power and just accept, what does this new cycle mean? Do you need to know what this new cycle means? Do you need to put a label on it? What if you just embrace the newness and just allow yourself to trust intuitively whatever you're feeling? Yes, we've been asked to show up differently, but the human in us, the ego in us, wants a script, wants a plan. And this is, we've been in a phase, it feels like, I don't know, maybe I always kind of used to describe it as being in a holding pattern when you're in a plane, but I feel like it's different to that. I feel like we've been in kind of trying to walk in like heavy mud, where we just feel like we're moving forward, but it feels really slow. I actually don't think it is. One of my clients described it as a slow moving roller coaster. So it just does mean that a lot's have been happening. So if you've been on an emotional roller coaster, if you've been up and down, you're not alone. But that's what's happening. There's an energetic shift. And the other important thing to do is to check with yourself and ask, is this me or is it the planet? Also listen to the people around you. It's like, I was just talking to Stacey before we started recording about how we're feeling and all that sort of stuff. And, sometimes you forget that to just stop and look around and just look at what other people are going through and then say, oh, okay, all right, this is more than just me. There's more happening around me than I give credit for. It's really important to do that right now. It's like, it's important to acknowledge how far you've come, but to not carry that pain into this next phase. Just a simple thing of closing your eyes and saying, you know what? I claim back any fragment of my soul that's not with me. I claim back my power. I choose to stand in my power. Doing that regularly and just imagining yourself rising as a phoenix out of the ashes or standing tall, whatever works for you. But doing a simple thing of bringing you and calling your power back. Because if we're honest with ourselves, we've been giving our power away for a long time. And I know we've been working to really kind of release the soul contracts and stand in our power, but even claiming your power, choosing and make a conscious choice not to give your power away. Simple things like that. Well, I say simple. Sometimes they're harder than they sound, but it's still making a conscious effort to stand in your power and call your power back and not give it away. I feel like is a really good thing to do right now. So, Stacey, when I ask you and I kind of give you the title of walking into a new cycle in your own power, standing in your own power, releasing, and I was just talking to you about before, and it's like for me, you're like the perfect poster child of somebody who kind of gave up on a dream you had of moving to the UK and kind of owning the life that you're moving into and you're stepping into your own power. And it's just like, even with the work that we do, sometimes when it's happening to ourselves, we don't always realize. So how do you feel about walking into a new cycle and standing in your power and owning who you are?
Well, it's funny because when we were talking about it, I was looking at you like you were crazy. Like, I don't understand. Um, but I'm absolutely going into a whole new season. And I feel like I'm learning to stand in my power. I think that I'm experiencing a lot of change right now, and it's happening really fast. And I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but it feels like, yes, there's certain parts that I want to go faster, right? But there's feels like a lot of it is going really quickly. And I've had a lot of change. For those who don't know, I ended an engagement and made the decision to stay in the United States. And at the same time, I decided to get back out into the world in a different way. And so I'm still doing healing work virtually and seeing clients and doing mentorship and all of that. But now, in addition to that, I'm in a salon a couple days a week and I'm doing hair and Reiki and seeing clients in person. And there's so much change happening that it feels almost hard to keep up with in a way. And I feel like as I'm taking these steps, I'm recognizing how much power there is in standing in your truth and doing things that you feel are aligned with you. But Nims, I'm scared right now.
But isn't it okay to be scared?
I think it's okay to be scared. But I wonder sometimes if I'm making it harder on myself.
It is down to our expectations, right? We used to having plans. We used to kind of at least having an idea of what's coming. Like you had a plan of moving to the UK, and I think you've learned that that we don't know what's around the corner. And in some ways that's exciting, but in others that's scary. And it's okay. You've got to own how you feel, right?
Well, then I'm owning it that I'm scared.
It's beautiful.
Let's just own it here on the podcast that Stacey Brown is scared.
And if I was to be honest, I go through phases. There's sometimes that I feel blessed to be here or blessed to be here during this transition. So the other times I'm like, why did I choose to be here? There's other times where I'm drained. I feel the energy of what the planet's going through, and I'm like, this is draining, and it's okay. All of those feelings are fine. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong. It's just this is a new time, and change, and doing things we've never done before can be scary. It's a confusing time. Do we take lots of action and move forward? Do we stop? It's like we're getting mixed messages. At times we're getting messages to just be, and I'm a strong advocate right now to just be and be present. But are we waiting for clarity, or are we trusting ourselves enough to act? And that is what I feel is the transition that's happening right now is trusting your intuition. Yes, taking small steps to move forward. I don't feel like it's a time for big steps, and maybe over the coming weeks the energy will change. But it's the thing, I feel like we've been asked to walk forward without needing guarantees or perfect timing. Actually, I feel like maybe in our earlier lives, in an earlier part of this life, we were spoiled, where you could anticipate what was coming. And I don't know if we appreciated what was coming. And then it's like maybe before, but certainly from the times of COVID, there's been so much that we couldn't predict it. All the energetic shifts, even if on the outside it feels like your life is stagnant, but if you just stop and feel the energy and the vibration around, there's been so many shifts. Then you look at the weather changes on the planet, you look at the natural disasters, you look at the politics on the planet. It's an intense time. There's so much pain on the planet. I wish I could say I feel like the pain's going to reduce. I feel like for this planet to shift, there needs to be a lot of painful changes, and with painful changes, sometimes that does bring pain. Often I have a conversation with my guides and source and say, well, does it need to be as painful? And I kind of know the answer. Everybody's going through whatever they're meant to go through at this phase. So if you are going through something painful, then I'm sending you so much love, and the quicker you can embrace your lessons, then maybe you can move on. But none of us are here to stop people's pain. And I guess before I hand it back to Stacey, let me ask our listeners, if you were honest to yourself, how do you feel? Are you scared? Are you excited? Are you apprehensive? Are you nervous? Are you all of those things? It's important. I mean, Stacey very bravely said she's admitting. It's almost like before the conversation, she was surprised that she was admitting she was scared. I'm like, I mean, it's easier to see in someone else's life than to see in your own. But be kind to yourself. This is such a unique time in this planet's existence. Your soul chose to be here, and it means that you're powerful enough. You're magical enough. You're strong enough to be here, and you're needed. You're wanted. But it doesn't mean that humans not going to struggle. So, Stace, now you've done that, kind of admitted that revelation, which is beautiful. What would your advice be to people about owning what they're feeling? What are you doing to kind of truly own who you are and kind of embracing this journey?
I think the thing that I'm doing more than anything else is just showing up 100% as me and letting the chips fall where they will. It's been really amazing to see what happens when you put yourself out there in new situations. And I think that's the thing that's fascinated me the most right now is I am in a situation where everything is new, right? I'm in this new salon, new space, everything's unfamiliar, from the technology to the color line to the people. Everything is unfamiliar and new. But I've just chosen to go in it just being me. And in doing that, I feel like I've attracted some really cool people into my orbit just by being myself. And so I wonder if when we're going through, change or transition, I think sometimes in the fear, we can put a mask on. And I've chosen not to do that. I've chosen to just show up as me. And for me, it's led to more fulfilling new relationships as well. It's been powerful to see what it's like to go through this.
Isn't that interesting though, right? And Face, me and you talk all the time, right? And it's just, if I listen to our conversations and the journey of it, it's just, things are shifting. I was talking about me before we started recording. I agree. I'm showing up in all the areas I can in terms of holding a meditation circle in my home, which my home's always kind of been my protected base. I've done a lot of healing here. Sidra's done a lot of healing here. But I realize that I've got to open it up because there's an energy of vibration here, and also I want to meet more people in person, and I've got to lead by example in that kind of way, right? So doing more networking events and being seen more, and always showing up for this podcast as an example, showing up for my clients. Do I feel like my life is outwardly very different? No, I don't feel like I've seen much of a change. Do I feel my internal energy shifting? 100%. Just it does feel like a roller coaster right now. It's like there's days I'm on a high. I feel like I can take on the world. There are other days I don't know if it's a global statement, but I just want to have a duvet day. I just want to kind of sit in, do nothing all day, and meditate and whatever, and just I do take time to self-care. I do make sure I have time to meditate and that sort of stuff. But some days you still got stuff to do too, right? So, but this is the thing: is standing in your power, moving into this next phase, standing in your power and being in your power. Part of it is being honest with yourself, and not out of judgment, not out of from your ego, because sometimes we judge ourselves. There's a big difference between being honest with yourself and judging yourself. Being honest with yourself is by what Stacey did at the beginning, admitting you're scared, and it's like when you admit that, you could jump into judgment. Wait, why am I scared? Surely I should know not to be scared. I talk about this stuff all the time. Well, why am I scared? And it's like, it's okay to be scared. What do you mean? Why do we judge ourselves? It's just, but this is a time to listen to you. It really is a time to trust you. Things are shifting so much with AI, and we're so trained to jump in and ask externally for the answers. Jump in, Google something, and now it's ChatGPT, or whichever AI you decide to use. And kind of almost some people are replacing AI with doing the spiritual work. Asking ChatGPT about the spiritual journey and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, of course you can do that sort of stuff, but it can't replace doing the work. It can maybe guide you to become more aware, but ChatGPT can in some ways be an extension of who you are, and but also you've got to check in with yourself. The first thing before you reach out to your phone is to stop and ask, well, what does this mean to me? How do I feel about this current energy? Like I said, we're recording this on the 10th. I don't know what the energy is going to be like on the 16th, but I feel that we're going to start to see little changes. I don't feel like there's going to be a light switch and all of a sudden, 17th Chinese New Year comes and all of a sudden we feel totally different. I feel like some people think that and feel that. I feel this transition from completion to new beginnings will happen over time. I feel like next week, like I said, the week of the 16th, there's a lot of energetic shifts, which because the thing is that we've got to feel the external energy of what's happening on the planet and use it to our advantage. So if you feel like there's a lot of shifts happening on the planet, then use those shifts to allow you to move forward and not be stagnant. But if you decide to stay in that stagnant energy, then yes, it's going to be more difficult for you because you're going to be going against what the planet's going through. But at the same time, you still have a responsibility to not be stagnant. But if you choose to be, that's your choice, and it's okay. It's just an interesting time. It's an interesting time to change your expectations of who you are, to change the mold on what you think your life should be like. Change your mold on what you feel like your life's moving into. I was smiling with Stacey before, and it's like I feel like some of us, like Stacey, is just a beautiful example of what this phase looks like. She had expectations of by now being in the UK, She was engaged at some point, maybe planning a wedding, whatever that looks like. But that whole plan got ripped up. And now she's creating a new beautiful existence. She started she's gone back into hairdressing, but they also do Reiki. So she's combining two things. She's still, that's part-time. Part-time, she's still doing the healing stuff and she's on this podcast. And I feel outwardly, that's a beautiful example of what this transition looks like. And for me, I thought it was obvious. I just thought, sure, of course. But, Stacey made me realize, actually, it's not always obvious. So, Stacey, I'm smiling at you because I think I feel like you're an example of showing what this phase and what this shift really looks like in human form. And when I say that to you, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's really cool when you can work past the fear and see the cool shit that God does. Like I said, I'm scared, right? I've admitted that I'm scared, but I've also had some really cool things happen. I've always been pretty private, which people think is so interesting for me to say because I'm so open on this podcast. But in my day-to-day life, I'm really pretty private and I'm quite a homebody. And I have, in embarking on this new journey, I've been meeting a lot of new people and really good quality people. And it's bizarre. I mean, I'll just give you an example. The owner of the salon where I'm working, she and I have been doing hair for years in like a similar community. Like we've been in the same spaces around the same people, but we never met after however many years of hearing about each other. And finally, a friend connected us because Megan, that's her name, had a spot in the salon that was open and she was looking for a hairdresser. And it just happened to be that we met. I want to say right now it was probably about 2 months ago. And it's the weirdest thing, Nims, because I haven't known her that long, but we both feel like we've known each other a really long time. And so there's obviously some kind of connection there, whether it's past life that we've experienced together or some kind of a significant soul contract. But it's so powerful my point is, it's powerful to move through the fear and see the blessings in the season of new. And how when you put yourself out there, some really amazing things can happen. You can meet people that you feel connected with, that you feel aligned with your vision of what you want. And it can be a really amazing journey. And so even though there's fear, and there's still fear, right? I'm still going through this season of new and uncertainty and all of that. There's also a lot of excitement because of the new connections that I'm making, the environments that I'm in, and getting to show up as myself in that and be who I truly am. It all feels like it surpasses the fear.
And that's the thing, right? It's being open to magic happening. Because magic, I feel, is happening around us all the time, but it's our expectations. And again, I use Stacey as an example. She's still, I don't know how long it's been since you broke up, but she's still obviously mourning that version of her, right? But there's still magic happening around her. What do you focus on? Do you focus on the magic of just meeting somebody that's been in your orbit for many years, divine timing, meeting them, feeling like you've known each other for lifetimes, and or do you allow the pain to consume you? And honestly, different days, different things, and it's okay. Because we are going through a rebirth. For lots of us, we had expectations of what our life was going to look like, where we were going to be right now, what we thought we should be doing, all these stories we tell ourselves. And we're mourning that version of ourselves, because I feel like for a lot of us, things have shifted and we need to be open to this rebirth. So mourn that version of you. Be scared, be excited, but also be open to the magic that's happening inside and around you. And sometimes it does take someone else to point it out. Just this is what your soul family is there for, right? Just asking yourself that question: what is the magic that's happening in my life today? If I could be grateful for something, what could I be grateful for? And this week, use the energy of the horse, the fire horse on the 17th. Let the fire embrace you. On yesterday was Shivratri, and Shivratri is all about reset, rebirth. Again, fire. It's all about shifting. Eclipse on the 17th too. It's also a new moon. So many signs of new energy, new vibration. And is it uncomfortable? Yeah. That's okay, but admit it's comfortable. We recorded an episode last week on how we've been asked to show up differently as leaders. You could have quite easily listened to that episode and just thought they're talking about, being in a working environment and all. No, I feel like we've all been asked to be leaders. We're all being asked to shine our light uniquely, to be the bridge. So embrace the fire horse energy, because it invites independence, fire, truth, boldness. We've all felt the snake. If we're up to honest, shedding layers, releasing the expectations of who we are. I feel like the universe is giving us clues. Don't let it, it's up to you, but you can get easily lost down the rabbit hole of, social media or ChatGPT and asking about this, what does fire horse mean, and, all that sort of stuff. And sure, if that's what excites you, then, go ahead and do it. But don't do that at the expense of trusting your own intuition. And don't compare yourself to others, because, moving ahead at your own pace instead of comparing your path to others. And listen to what Stacey said, and she's been really insightful in this episode by admitting, taking a step back and realizing that there's things happening in the world that are exciting and scares her too. I feel the same. I don't feel my shifts have been extreme at Stacey, but ever since I've known Stacey, we were talking about before, she's been through so many outwardly crazy shifts that I feel like a lot of my shifts have been internal. But and everybody's exactly where you need to be. I could quite easily look at Stacey's life and all the magic and the new news and like, well, hold on, where's my newness? That doesn't serve me. My own journey is my own journey, and I have lots of blessings by starting, like I said, a meditation circle. I started membership, guiding people and having new people into my world, more from a working perspective. But that's okay. It's what I'm here to do. Am I also manifesting a new soul family? I have some beautiful friends, but am I manifesting new souls to come in? Yeah, I am. I'm open to whatever that looks like, but I'm also not rushing it. I just trust in divine timing. But embrace this week's energy. And if you're not listening to this on the 16th, 17th, the Chinese Year New Year's already happened, don't sit there and think, I missed an opportunity. No, we're in the Chinese New Year. And if you listen to this 6 months down the line, we're still in that new energy. So maybe it's a good idea for you to reflect what's happened since we shifted into Fire Horse. There's a divine timing to all of these things. And right now, for me, is not taking about big steps. It's about small, honest steps, rather than taking any dramatic steps. But be aware, be conscious. Because this new chapter, what if you can get excited by it? Are you excited about this new chapter, Stacey? Are you, if I had to say to you, give me a percentage on, how much percentage you're excited and maybe how much you're apprehensive or fearful or scared. Do you have a percentage you can give me? Curious.
I don't think I can give you a percentage, but I can say that I'm very excited. And I also feel very supported. I think that's really important as well, to feel that support. And I absolutely feel that. And so I would say,
You have me in your life. Of course you're supported. I'm just joking. I'm just
yes,
joking.
100%.
Just
We
joking.
were just talking about that. It's true. But I feel supported and I feel excited for what's ahead. Um, you know, there's something to be said about the change. And when you start to get over the hump and things start to get a little bit more familiar and you get into a routine, it gets a lot easier. And I'm not quite there yet, but I'm close. And I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and trying not to overthink too much, because it is overwhelming, right? You can be excited and scared at the same time. And that's where I am. It's both.
And how cool is that? Isn't it okay to be excited and scared? Be honest with yourself. It's just we judge ourselves. It's like, oh my God, I shouldn't be fearful. Why not? What is courage? Courage is for me, embracing the fear. Embrace the fear and do it anyway. This is a time, really, if anything, to be honest with yourself, embracing this new energy, embracing this new version of you, taking time to get to know you. Recognizing it's a time. I feel like we're entering into a time where we've been processing so much, and I feel like now it's time to start to take small steps and walking into this new cycle and owning your power, accepting your role of being the bridge, accepting your role that you're meant to be in both worlds. And you're meant to set an example for others, and you're not meant to force people to change. This everything we've been talking about in this episode, and it feels like such a powerful week. And I was really conscious about what to talk about this week, because it just feels that important time, and I both me and Stacey feel that pressure of sharing whatever feels right at this moment. And this, for me, is a time to start to take small actions, but trusting in you. Knowing that you've been through so much and accepting that, and just letting go of what your expectations of life should be like. Letting go of those people that no longer serve. Letting go of the things that you do that no longer serves you. Making sure you're making time for you to get to know this new version of you. Releasing those roles and responsibilities that no longer serve. Being a different leader, embracing the fire horse. If it helps you, then every morning, just imagine yourself being that fire horse. I have forever embraced the energy of the phoenix, embracing and seeing me rising out of the ashes and flying high as the phoenix. And if that's what you want to use with fire, do that too. But my biggest advice to this phase is embrace the energy. I feel like the intense energy that we've had around us has consumed us, and it's sometimes made us feel really heavy, like we've got the world's problems on our shoulders. And maybe at times we didn't have to hold that much energy. But now, if things are shifting and we're entering the fire horse, and it's eclipse season, and there's so much change, it's Neptune and Saturn being at 0 degrees hasn't happened for 6,000 years. So if you didn't want more clues, but trust in you. You work so hard. You should be proud. And I'm sure there's people listening saying, well, he's not talking about me. I am talking about you. We've all been through it. We're all souls that chose to be here. And I truly believe anyone that's here is a powerful soul, because these are powerful times. So Stacey, as I ask you to, as we get close to wrapping up, any kind of journal prompts, any additional information you have as we start to close.
I would just take some time to evaluate where you are in life right now and what change is feeling like for you. Are you fearful? Are you excited? Are you transitioning into a new season? Give yourself some space to write about what that feels like. Is it overwhelming you right now? Does it feel like it's more than you can handle? Get real with yourself. Are you afraid? And just see what comes up as you navigate through this. I think it can be all the different emotions all at once. But I do think that there's some serious power in taking time to write about what you're going through and seeing what comes up. So use the journaling tool 100%. For a new season like this, when everything is so new and it can be overwhelming, it gives you a space to process some of the things that you might not otherwise see, maybe some lessons that you're going through or some epiphanies that you have. You might be able to uncover those through your writing. So take some time if you're in a season of new, get your journal and do some deep diving.
I love that advice. I love that advice. And, as I feel this conversation, and I just, when we talk about new cycles, there's an energy we put on ourselves, an expectation of, things shifting really quickly. And, if things aren't shifting for you, then don't start judging yourself. Like I said, I don't feel like this shift is going to be, and as I say, this is 555, but I feel like it's going to be a slow moving change. And it may feel quick, by the way, but it's just an expectation of however things are flowing for you, it's perfect. It really is, it's for me, it's a chapter of steadiness, clarity, and owning who you are. And it's about taking small steps rather than dramatic steps. This is not, you don't need to be ready for the whole year of, the year of the fire horse or whatever. You just need to be ready to deal and accept what's in front of you. Small steps. We love you guys. The message we receive, we're sending you so much love and light. Our intention through each of these episodes, you hear us, right? We talk about what we do, but there's no heavy selling. This is our way of giving back. Of course, we'd love for you to join us in the other things we do. The membership, I love the fact it's quite small, but I do feel like it's going to grow. And it's such a safe space to feel the love and the energy of others, for me to provide regular age updates, for you to connect with me a couple of times a month via Zoom. And right now it's a beautiful time to join because there's so many shifts going on. It's a beautiful space to be held. The next monthly call I'm going to do is actually on the 20th, so the day of when I talk about zero, Saturn and Neptune being zero in Aries, which is like the beginning of this new cycle that hasn't happened in 6,000 years. We chose that day to be around the new moon, but also to be after the new year. So it's a beautiful time to join the membership. So, of course, we'd love for you to join the other things we do. The mentorship program we do is changing lives. It's our favorite. It's my favorite thing to do. I love what I get to do. And if you decide to join us in any of these things, reach out if our voice resonates. Or if you continue listening to this podcast and letting support you and guide you, I think that's beautiful too. Sending you all so much love and light. We love you so very much. And Stacey, I'm going to hand over to you to say any final words to close us out.
I'm grateful for another powerful episode. Sometimes with these episodes, I get stumped thinking, what am I going to talk about? And then it just flows and we have such a great connection. And I'm so grateful for you, Nims. I'm grateful that we have this space where we get to talk about things that are deep and get people thinking. So thanks for being on this journey with me. Sending love and light to you all. Bye for now.
Thank you, Stacey. I love being on this journey with you too. Sending everyone love and light. And join us on whatever feels resonant. We have scheduled the next full moon webinar, which is on 2nd March, which feels like a lifetime away. But so many ways you can interact. And I'd love for you guys to join us on all these things. We love what we get to do. So sending you all so much love and light, sending you the biggest hug. And take care and speak to you soon. Bye for now.